So, welcome to Dumpling School. This is episode 15. Let's see here. Let me get my notes pulled up. Yay. So, last week I talked about how to help guys be, or our young boys that we raise, be more independent, be more responsible, grow into fine young men, potentially have their great, what was it called again? Basically not have to have that safety net when they get older and not have to don't see the thingy. Oh yeah, getting the rite of passage in. So let's see, this week I am doing girls. I am basically going through teaching girls how to be young ladies and good wives. So why does it say I ended dumpling school? Oh wait a minute, that's last week. Never mind. Okay, cool. Phew. Okay, I thought I accidentally pushed something I shouldn't have. So, anyway, um, this week we're talking about girls. What should girls learn as they grow up to, around 18 when they will be hopefully finding a young man and marrying and becoming a wife? There's some lessons that you could wait till they're a bit older. Let's say there's things that we learn as we actually have babies and stuff like that. And some things that are example marriage things. But anyway, I'm going to go through some of the basics. Um, think some things girls should be learning as they're doing. So I'm going to start with cooking. Um, I know with my stepmom, when she was cooking in the kitchen, we were cooking in the kitchen. It was a group activity. I mean, she made food up till she was sick, uh, so a lot of times when we would come in and she would be like, "Oh, I'm making bread today," and so we would be helping. Sometimes, little ones don't do that much help, but we were helping. We were learning a little bit of how to follow the recipe and how to do the instructions. She would do the complex stuff. We might do something like trying to break eggs into a container so that we don't get it all over the place. It teaches little things on how to follow a simple recipe, learning how to bake. Um, Sometimes also doing things like learning to cut vegetables. That's also a really good skill to teach your little ones. Uh, and I'm not saying little because, figure the right age for their dexterity, coordination, and stuff. About the age where they're be safe with a knife, have them start cutting the simple vegetables, the things that are soft. Like if you're making apple pie, they could help cut the apple pieces. If you're cooking, they could break the eggs, learning how to measure flour, or learning how to measure different stuff. It helps get those skills started. They may not need to know why, but when you open up like the grandma's cookbook and you're supposed to make cookies for school and this is how we're going to make cookies, you just basically have them help measure and bake and pour as they get through. That way, when they're a teenager, they can basically say, "Hey, mom, I'm going to bake cookies for my friends," and they can bake cookies for their friends. Um, and also have them actually starting to learn to cook dinners. I feel like there's a handful of decent recipes that would be good. We may share some of the stuff, but basically, how to make spaghetti. Spaghetti is not too hard. You learn how to do the ground beef, minced beef. You learn how to boil noodles, strain them, and you could even teach with how to make the sauce, but that's a lot more complex. But, they could follow a recipe for sauce if they've learned how to follow a recipe. But, here is how to pour the can of tomato sauce on top of the meat and then pour that on top of the spaghetti. Sprinkle with cheese, and it's a fancy dinner. And also, here's how to make a fresh salad. Uh, there's like things that could be done that should be able to do. One of the first things I learned to cook was scrambled eggs and French toast. So, scrambled eggs, French toast, I had breakfast. And that can last quite a bit for, many years of cooking breakfast. I can make French toast, I can make scrambled eggs. That's not too hard. And also, things like French toast is not, there's a lot of, I guess, give and take on it. As long as the French toast is not raw, uh, it's yeah, or not too burnt. There's a lot of leeway in it, and it's actually fairly easy to do. Um, that's something like elementary school possibly could be able to make French toast. A little more complex with scrambled eggs, but being able to make a breakfast, that's actually pretty good. Especially now we have like conveniences like bacon that you can, cook. That's almost pretty much already cooked anyways. You just have to warm it up, i.e., instant bacon. Yeah, I'll tease about instant bacon at times. But anyway, let's see. Scrambled eggs, French toast, spaghetti. That gives a pasta dish. Spaghetti can turn easily into mac and cheese. Um, let's see. How to make a decent soup. That would actually be good. Um, Possibly how to do crock pot cooking. Crock pot cooking is a whole little bit different style. But if she has crock pot cooking, like being able to make a stew in a crock pot, is basically it's a slow cook. You put your meat in, you put your vegetables in, you put your broth in, and you basically let it simmer. And once it's done, and you have dinner. Um, that's actually a really good way to basically cook a dinner while taking care of cleaning up the house or taking care of kids or whatever else. So yeah, basically some type of crock pot food. um, Something like a stew is good. What's another basics? To me, frying hamburgers were hard. I still leave that task to my husband. I don't like doing those. um, but yeah, basically a handful of recipes that are simple enough, uh, just to basically follow directions and be able to serve and have a few family meals. And yeah, we have a lot of conveniences with like um, being able to go get fast food or being able to get dinner somewhere else or eating out or everything, but that can be expensive. So, and I'm going to share the advantage of that. There is something that I did to accelerate my cooking. It's a little bit more expensive, but not too bad. There's these cook meal things. I'm trying to remember. I don't really want to do brand things, but you basically get the package, the ingredients come delivered to your door, and it has an instruction card on how to cook the thing. It has enough ingredients for whether you checked for this is for two or two four or four. And it's actually usually just a fairly simple dinner, but it actually slowly builds a cooking repertoire. It's the first time I actually put green beans in a toaster oven. I'm like, wow, these are interesting. It's not just like soggy, wet green beans, they're toaster oven green beans. And it actually added a different flavor to them and added a different texture. And I was like, hey, cool, I should make these more often. Um, and it let me try new things, new techniques, new, like, okay, this is a poached thing. I've never poached anything before. So I learned about poaching and I was like, wow, this is an awesome recipe. And I've taken it and modified it. But yeah, it's an awesome base recipe. So now my husband and I will collect recipes from the internet and we will try them. I can follow the recipe and we've expanded our cooking repertoire to a lot of different things. Um, so yeah, some basics of cooking. Something boiling, cooking stuff in a pan, something baking. It helps being able to walk through different recipes. And in a lot of, especially nowadays with YouTube, if you have the basics down, There's usually a YouTube video on how to expand. So yeah, it gives a good basics on that. So yeah, one of the things girls should learn before they're off married is some cooking. Um, the next one I'm going to say is sewing. So and we're not talking. I mean, we're the other day we posted some things like, "Wow, people used to make dresses from a pattern," and it's like, "Yeah, I used to make dresses from patterns." I it, it was a benefit to me, and it actually saved my cost. Um, but even hand sewing, being able to sew on a button or repair clothes, even in the simplistic form, actually saves money. It means we're not like, I have a favorite shirt, a button fell off, and now it doesn't go in the trash bin, and I can actually put the button back on. Or I have a small rip in something, I've been able to patch it. Okay, cool. Now my jeans they may not look new again, but yes, then now I can actually wear them some more. It extends the life. Um, Also, before you have a little baby, being able to understand how to repair their favorite stuffed animal. So let's say they have a teddy bear and it gets a rip in it. You could basically hand sew the rip back together, and now their favorite stuffed animal is repaired and usable again. And to me, that's like super important because I know sometimes children, let's say you have the teddy bear that is a nice light brown and it's worn out and it's beaten up. And then you're like, okay, well, this one's dead. And so you put that one away and you try to give the same one or very similar one to the kid, and they throw a fit because that's not their bear. That's not their bear. Um, I have seen that happen with kids before. And, basically, you don't want to give them one with stuffing coming out. You want to have them so they're safe and handled well. Uh, but yeah, being able to repair their stuffed animal is a lifesaver, especially for a mom. Also able to sew the eyes back on and stuff like that. That's helpful too. Um, and if you do have the privilege of having a sewing machine, being able to do some repairs with a sewing machine is helpful, and I will explain it this way. There was a store my sister and I used to go to, and they basically purchased clothes from the department stores that were not in season anymore or had small defects. And, and it was a really nice discount. But yeah, I would basically can go find a shirt I liked and it had missing buttons. Oh, great, cool. So we buy the shirt and we buy new buttons and put the new buttons on, take off the old buttons, put the new buttons on. And I have a shirt I like that is heavily discounted, and all I had to do is repair the buttons. Um, my sister and I would go there for dresses because sometimes the zipper would be broken, and being able to repair a zipper from the sewing machine, that saved a ton of money because those dresses were heavily discounted because the zipper was broken. The dress fit, the dress looks great, the dress was very useful. It was a good dress, or a skirt does the same thing, where the zipper is just not working right and you're just like, hey, I'll just replace the zipper. That was like another 50 cents on top of the very cheap price of the clothes. So, being able to repair your own clothes is a lifesaver on finances, especially when you're starting out and new to having a lifestyle together. Being able to save a little bit of money here and there as you're starting your life with your man is awesome. So, yeah, a little bit of sewing is actually really good for a kid to do. Your little girl or something. So that will actually help. Tailoring is a little bit more challenging, but I think I learned more tailoring stuff when I was in college. So I worked at a costume shop, and that's where I learned tailoring. But being able to fix a zipper, fix buttons, fix a little place that's snagged or torn or something like that, that's actually a huge financial saver. Yeah, if any of the girls in here want to actually learn tailoring, I'd be happy to teach. Um, that part would be like you lost weight and you're like, I need to take my pants in an inch. And you can, or you got a pair of pants and they're way too long, you can sew up the cuffs and make it look nice. And that's where tailoring comes in. It's it's not hard. It's just it just takes some patience to do and make it look pretty. Um, but yeah, that's a little bit more advanced, but it's doable. It's one of those things that you could do. Let's see. And that's all in sewing. My next category is cleaning. So being able to know how to sweep a floor, vacuum a floor, how to do dusting, how to clean the bathroom, how to clean the kitchen is a lifesaver. It helps you have an awareness of having a clean environment. It also will help keep the house clean, and sometimes moms can teach tips and tricks to do so, cleaning and organizing and all that fun stuff. So, and I know some girls be like, oh, you know, I will just be marry a rich person and I could have somebody clean for me. So, even if you have found a wealthy person and you could have somebody clean for you, still need to learn cleaning. And this is why. When somebody comes and cleans for you, and you are looking at how they're doing it or they're after work of it, um, yeah, you may need to like, okay, this person is not doing this correctly, or this person is, okay, I'll go back to cooking on that one too. This person is not doing this correctly, or this person spend 2 hours doing this, and quite honestly, that would only take me 15 minutes. That helps with even knowing how to clean helps with quality control. So that helps with when you're having a person that is doing the job for you. Okay, yeah, now you know if that person is actually doing a helpful job. So yeah, cleaning is also a really good thing to actually teach your kids to be able to do. Um, I'm going to go back to cooking just one more for another fun anecdote. Um, I noticed when I upped my cooking skills and got really good at it, I went to restaurants and I was like, this restaurant, they're not doing this right. Their food is just not up to par. They did their spices wrong, or it's just not spiced correctly. And so I was able to actually realize the quality that I was serving at home and I was cooking at home was better than what I was getting eating out. There's some places still that do excellent jobs, but I was just basically shocked at the difference level when I actually started cooking for myself and self more, and like, oh, okay, no, I don't like how this restaurant does this. So yeah, okay, we'll go on. The next one is I actually suggested this to a mom before. They're trying to figure out what to do and how to have their kids help them and learn something while they're helping. And the next one I did was I suggested, hey, why don't you take your kids grocery shopping with you? Instead of being frustrated of trying to get a sitter or do that while they're in school or do that while this is going on, why don't you just take them with you? It's an opportunity so that they could pick out vegetables and know how to pick out vegetables, because this was one of those moms that did healthy vegetable stuff. And it's like, yeah, this is an opportunity for you to have them help you pick out vegetables. Have them, this is how you find something that's quality and good, that's good for you and stuff like that. So as you drag your daughter in to helping out, um, it can actually help transfer those skills that they may not need it today, but down the road, it will actually make things better for them in total. Let's see my notes. So let's see, cooking, sewing, cleaning, grocery shopping. Um, this one may get some flack, but I am going to mention it anyways. Um, okay. Okay, cool. Um, but so when, and this is something I would actually teach my own daughters, whether they actually control the budget or not, I would actually still teach budgeting to girls. Now we're like, oh no, my husband's going to make all the money. Yes, he's going to make all the money. However, understanding finances or understanding how money is done actually does help in the long run because because even if he is making the money, a lot of times our request to like, oh, I want this, is us spending the money. So when he spends money, he sees the hours of his time or the effort that he is putting in when he actually spends the money. When we request the money, when we're like, oh, I just want this new thing, sometimes we are not aware of how actually the expensive of that item is. Um, so yeah, let me pick on something. Hard to pick on books because books are just worthy. They're valuable. Let's see. Let's do a new purse. So if I wanted a new purse, I am actually understanding that that new purse, even if I have an old purse, that new purse is costing this much extra. Is it really worth that quality? Is it really worth that effort? Is it really worth how many hours of his time is that purse really worth? And sometimes it could actually help us not spend as much. And also, it gets the idea of what our budget is and how to be a part of budget. One of the things I did with my nieces, I actually played a game. I'm like, okay, so we are going to pay bills. This is the amount we're starting with. This is basically my husband's paycheck. And now we're going to pay for the electricity. Now we're going to make the house payment. Now we're going to make the gas payment. And now we're going to make this payment. And by the time we went through a whole month, we got down to a certain amount. And they're like, oh, wow, that was a lot of bills. Yes, it's a lot of bills. And then there is a chunk left over. And they're like, oh, cool, there's some left over. I'm like, yeah, and that's groceries for the month. Now we're going to go shopping. And they were actually understanding a lot more about why we make certain choices, how we choose different things, because yeah, that that check that he gets or what he gets in the initial part is actually really, really cool and it's awesome. But by the time it gets down to now, as this is what we have left to live on for groceries and anything else, you start looking at it going, oh, we do not have a large budget for entertainment. We don't have that a large budget for fun. And yeah, there is a part of that that actually helps kids understand the value of money. Um, and that leads to another thing of when we make purchases, even if we're making a purchase, each purchase is an investment. So I'm going to do this first with clothes and then I will actually show something else too. So when I make a choice for, let's say, a new pair of tennis shoes, it is an investment. It is an investment in my fitness. It is an investment in something I will be wearing on and how often I will be wearing it and how much effort and how long it will last. So if I buy a really, really cheap pair, it may last a couple months and then they will be torn apart and I may have to throw them away. If I buy a really expensive pair, it may last longer, but is it really worth that expense? If I find one that's just basically decent quality, that can last several years. I didn't overpay for brand name, but it can last several years. And that the difference between the quality one and the cheap one will actually make the quality one actually less expensive in the long run. And that goes with coats, that goes with purses, that goes with clothes. Um, as I have been on my weight loss journey, I have bought some cheap t-shirts, cheap bodysuits. I know that they will last a certain amount of time, and then guess what? I will have to give them away, or basically put them in a yard sale or something. Um, but once I get to my ideal size, that's when I will actually buy some quality ones. Um, so yeah, there's that like difference of like how much am I going to use it? How what when is it time to buy quality versus when is it time to buy just something that covers things like that. So understanding the budget also starts our eyes as women as investing in quality when we need to, and allowing it to be inexpensive when we need to, because some things are just fine being inexpensive. Um, you just want some quick shoes to walk out in the yard in when you need to. Awesome, that's a good chance to have inexpensive ones. You're actually going to go and do hiking. That's probably where you want quality. You have a formal occasion where you actually need to dress nice. That's where you look at balance of like, do these need to be quality or do these, or am I going to wear this once and then I may not need them for another year or two. So it just depends. Like when I was going to the office every day, yes, I invested in some nice quality work shoes. They were comfortable. They're almost tennis shoe comfort levels. But I was wearing them every single day, and they would probably last me 5 years. So, which brings me to like investing in food. So this kind of sounds weird, but um, when you are actually eating quality food, it actually goes into your health. So if I am eating quality meat, eating quality dairy, eating quality eggs, eating, basically the quality ingredients, it actually helps my health. That is investing into my health. It's investing into your husband's health. It's investing into your children's health. Um, so uh, there are places I actually focus on quality, and I could see the rewards for them when I do. Um, So yeah, there's places, and when you feed your body just junk food all the time, your body is not going to be healthy. It's not, your kids might have the brand name fruit roll ups, but those are really high in artificial sugars mixture with corn syrup mixture with artificial dyes and artificial flavors. I am not sure how much fruit is actually even in them other than the name and maybe pictures, but that's really not yeah, it's basically giving junk. It's basically inexpensive brand name cheap junk. That is not an investment in the body. That may help with the tears, but it doesn't invest with the body. Uh, Giving your kids, spending the time and effort in doing something quality for your children, doing something quality for your husband, actually does end up with good health down the road. So, yeah, somebody mentioned, yeah, how many hours does my husband have to work to buy me X? Yeah, that is a really good way to think about it. I actually appreciate that comment. Um, let's see, sewing, cooking, cleaning, budget. Um, let's see, next one, childcare maybe? Yeah, childcare is something that's nice, but I think some of that is one of those things that, um, yeah, that's probably where I need to go next. Thank you. Um, childcare is nice, but actually, that's the one that probably is actually more learned while you're doing it. You usually need somebody side by side helping you as you learn. Uh, Not because it's not useful to learn ahead of time, but the what you learn by babysitting is a little bit different. But yeah, I would actually do recommend that girls learn a little bit of babysitting. It doesn't have to be a really bitty baby, but having some babysitting time actually does help understand a few things, because a lot of times the young lady is left in the care of a toddler or a elementary age kid, and you may spend an hour or two with them, and you start learning like, oh, wait a minute, it's not going as planned. So yeah, a little bit of babysitting would be good. um, and I am actually going to jump off of the one that just got posted, which is cool. Thank you. I did want to do that. I'm going to start on this one called emotional regulation. Um, I'm going to start here with the emotions. Having emotional regulation is one of those things I have been noticing. Um, and this doesn't mean the whole be silent. This doesn't mean never show your emotions. This is, I actually recently was just digging through X for things just because. Um, I saw 20-year-olds and they were throwing a toddler like temper tantrum in the middle of public. And I was looking at it going, what in the world? They were, this one lady was on the ground, kicking her legs, screaming at the top of her lungs, throwing a temper tantrum. This is one of those things that most parents deal with a toddler as they start learning this stuff. But yes, some emotional regulation. I know in school, and I forgot to actually plug that. Oops, I'll take care of that. By the way, school.com/CS Joseph. I will put a link in there and I'll say more at the end. I know that we talk about UD and SD, and honestly, there are plenty of girls on the SD side that are actually quite wonderful. They may be more expressive, more explosive, but uh, they have learned how to be an adult, and it actually is very beautiful. um, so yeah, there is that level of being explosive and being a wonderful SD woman, but then there is just pure immaturity. Somebody that just, you know, I've I've also seen things with women trying to tear each other apart over stupid things like a purse, or a jacket in a store, like they are just basically throwing fits like children in in a place over something unimportant and stupid. Um, and I'm not saying they are stupid. I'm just saying they're acting stupid. They're acting like they're at the end of, yeah, amplifying the issue. That's actually a thing. They're taking their wants and they're amplifying it all over the place. And it's not one of those things that's the end of the world. It is the teaching your daughter how to have some emotional self-control is actually a wonderful thing to do. And somebody just commented, I actually love this. I love having a live audience, by the way. So, yeah, if any of the girls want to be part of my live audience, I truly appreciate it. Um, Learn to have some self control yourself because it's hard to teach children to emotionally regulate themselves if you can't regulate your own self. And this actually goes both for UD and SD, and I will explain. It's kind of like the SD needs to pull in a little bit. It doesn't have to be changed, but it needs to pull in a little bit. Pull in so when something doesn't go their way, that they can express, they can vent that, and then they could come back to the center or come back to this, like, okay, now we can talk. And also the opposite is UD, completely shutting down and not being able to express at all is just as problematic. That's not emotional regulation either. That is going into this whole trauma lockdown of like a PTSD of not being able to express what's going on. So both extremes are problematic. Um, so yeah, teach your daughters to emotionally regulate themselves. Uh, yeah, if they're very expressive, let them express. If they're not expressing enough, help them to express. And that kind of goes into the whole idea of learning yourself, learning how to work on your own emotions. I know our women's group here, Ladies in Noble Character, we actually have some books on it. We have some areas on it, and I actually may go into it more. How to deal with what's it called, self intimacy. I actually got a book that recently that looked like it's really good on how to work with yourself, work with your emotions and stuff. So I'm going to read that and see if I can suggest going through some of that. Um, excuse me. And let's see. That's emotional regulation. I'm going to see if somebody types and wants to add more here. But also having some type of self intimacy, having some type of way to understand what you're feeling, being able to process those feelings, and being able to express those feelings. And that kind of goes both ways. And yeah, somebody mentioned self compassion, but not overindulgence. Yeah, that's actually a good way to put that. Being able to have that stuff inside, but not overindulge what you're actually trying to do. So I'm going to go back to self care again because that could go a different direction as well. So, self care is also physical self care. I know in the recent Hacked Off podcast, we talked about beauty and fitness and health and stuff like that. So, sometimes we don't have all the information, but it is good for a mom to teach her daughter what they can about health and beauty and fitness. And this is not taking your toddler to the gym or to the to doing weight training. We're not talking about that. We're talking about finding healthy ways to stay active, finding healthy ways to understand nutrition as far as you understand it, because the nutrition thing when I was a teen is completely different now. And it will be different for different people too. So understanding some type of health and nutrition stuff is actually good for your kids to understand. Let's see. And a little bit of fitness. I know one of the problems I faced as a teenager is that the big promotion of fitness was just aerobic exercise. Women, go do aerobic exercise. This is how you actually stay thin, by doing jumping jacks for an hour in the living room. going running and doing this, but that had, that, there's a certain amount of benefit to it, but it's not beneficial for everybody. So, learning some stuff about fitness is actually healthy, and yeah, age appropriate fitness. Um, I know my stepmom actually taught me dancing, and stuff like that. We would put on music and dance in the living room. She taught me different types of dances. And it's about movement. It's about being active. It's about having fun with it too, and not making it a complete chore. Because there's a little bit of mental block on some people that fitness is always a chore. To me, it's fun, but that's one of those great things. Um, and also caring for yourself. When I was going through the training for foster kids, they one of the things they emphasized was needing to teach some of the foster kids how to take a shower and how to do it appropriately, or how to take a bath appropriately. And I'm like, wait a minute, these might be teenagers that don't know how. No, yep, teenagers that do not know how to wash their hair or wash their bodies. And I'm like, oh wow. And yes, they wear a swimsuit while you're teaching them. We'll just put it that way. Um, but yes, teach your kids how to do some self care, taking a bath, taking a shower, brushing hair, doing hair care, doing skin care. Different cultures will have a little bit different techniques, and it's always interesting to learn different culture techniques, and that's actually fun, and we should actually talk about some of that in the ladies channels too. But yeah, basically how to take care of yourself. And um, there's always a fun thing of young teens when they first try makeup, young teen girls trying to first try makeup. It's kind of interesting, but them experimenting as mom is helping here and there uh, can lead to better success. It's like my husband doesn't want me to wear makeup most of the time. He likes certain things, but he doesn't care about the makeup part. Um, but being able to at least do that when you need to for being on stage, being in public, stuff like that. Uh, Starting it and actually helping your daughter through it begins teach some of the more healthy stuff. Some of the more like, okay, this is how we're trying this, and gives them a little bit higher success rate. Let's see, showering, hair care, skin care, makeup, um, dressing, stuff like that. I remember I was around 5 or 6 years old when I got told my season, and I learned how to do all the season stuff. Uh, that's not actually completely necessary, but having an idea of what it's all about can help when you get into teenager to like have better success on choosing clothes. A lot of teenagers will just like, oh yeah, black, everything black, and that's cool. That's self-expression. But understanding what colors really work with your skin and eyes so that when you do need to shine, you can shine. That's being able to do that. Let's see, we talked about physical health care, we talked about emotional health care. Also, nutrition is also important, but I think I included that with groceries and cooking too. Let me scan really quick through here. Just checking our little sections of stuff. Ooh, yeah, that's also good. Personal style. I'll get to that in a little bit here. Budgeting. Oh, yeah. Depending on what your family belief is, I would also teach them some type of spiritual health care too. So if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, trying to think of the other religions that I know we have, um, or even just some type of meditation um, if you have no actual, if you're atheist or agnostic, some type of something gives a certain amount of spiritual health care. And also being aware of different religions also is beneficial. That way, when they come across them as they get older, they actually have some understanding of, oh, this person might believe this. And not to be offensive, where they were like, oh, you believe this, so I don't like you, but more like, oh, you might believe this, so then you can ask questions and actually try to understand the other person more. Um, so, yeah, some type of spiritual health care, well, I'll call it that way. And then the next one I'm going to bring up, safety and self defense. And I'm probably going to go a little bit different direction with this. Part of it is learning to be aware, because a lot of times as little kids, we are extremely trusting. We think adults are extremely safe. Sometimes we will meet somebody that's not safe, and then we start crying, and our parents say, oh no, you need to actually trust this person. And there may or may not be a reason, but it's just kind of like, I remember, like, my little sister got handed to a family member to pick up and say, hey, let's take a picture together. Picked up the little girl. She started crying. My sister started crying. They're like, oh no, you should be nice to him. He's harmless. And the family member was harmless, but it wasn't daddy. Um, and so it was a fear, but sometimes kids actually do detect things that we don't detect either. Um, So, yeah, moms should be aware of their kids and their safety of them, but they should also be teaching not the horrible level of paranoia, because my stepmom really went into horrible paranoia on things, but a healthy awareness. So, I probably shouldn't do into that, but awareness of what is actually going on around them. So I know when I was raised, there was a thing called stranger danger. I don't think it's a thing anymore, but I'm sure that you know you didn't you didn't get in cars with strangers. And now we hire random people with our car company things, and it's a stranger, and then they will pick you up and take you to where you want to go. And although it's a service, I have actually heard stories and reports of it being very dangerous as well. And that was a flag for me. But I realize it's a service now, and there's plenty of people that are safe that are doing it, but there's also people that are not safe. And teaching our kids, it's not about um, cultural differences are not the problem, but sometimes being aware if somebody does look suspicious, it may be a chance to say, hey, look, I don't feel comfortable here. I don't care about stuff, but if somebody is following me and they have their face kind of covered up and they are wearing something to try to cover their head and they keep getting closer and closer, and what to do, that's a place I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, I might be in danger. So teaching your kids what to look for, teaching that, you know, that looks suspicious and that looks suspicious. Um, and also online activity, how to be as safe as possible when online so that somebody doesn't show up at the doorstep, um, that somebody doesn't break into the house, uh, that you're not, this is why we lock the doors at night. This is why we wear reflective gear. This is what to do when you are in danger and you need to get home. I'm going to go into the teenage years here in a moment, too. Um, and it's actually helpful for young girls to learn some self defense. Um, when I was doing judo, they basically would have a all girls self defense class. It doesn't have to be judo, it could be other martial arts, but they will have self defense classes, and it teaches some basics on basically defending against very generalized. Uh, so that's actually healthy. How to like use your keys as a weapon, how to, when you're actually needing to, how to use pressure points. That's also useful. How to wiggle out of a hold and stuff like that. That was also very useful. There are things that are self defense classes that actually do help women and teenage girls to actually be able to deal with various situations. Um, which brings me to teenagers. Um, there is a certain amount of safety in numbers. Um, one of the things my mom taught me is do not be in a room alone with a guy. Um, have this kind of starts going into our hypergamy and stuff like that, but have a way out. Have it video camera, have it, that this could be recorded type of thing, situations. It basically gives plausible deniability, not plausible deniability, it gives a way that you are feeling like you are being more aware and more being watched. Um, and it's kind of like when I'm at work, I need to talk to a male boss, I make sure the door stays open. I make sure that it's like at a desk over to the side. I actually keep a certain amount of distance. And this is something I've learned as a teen. My mom would not let us go on a date solo with a guy. Uh, there had to be my. I would go on dates with dates with my sister. I would go on my sister's dates with her. Um, in a sense, I was the driver, but I was there as a safety buffer because as long as I was there, other things would not happen that shouldn't happen. And that was basically a supervised date. I know it's not fun, but it actually keeps other things from happening that shouldn't happen. And even the guys that are super super safe, still, my parents were confident that if I was there, that there wouldn't be anything going on that shouldn't go on. That's a part of safety. Also, as I got into college, certain chemicals started being produced that could make a girl get basically out of it. We call them date rape drugs. I'm also hearing stories of people having that put onto materials and somebody hand them something at the store and they start getting dizzy at the store, and um, there are instances of people going missing because they get handed something and it seems like it's harmless, and they start getting dizzy and they're like, oh no, I am about to be taken advantage of. And some of the people are like, okay, I'm calling this person, I'm going to stay on the phone with them, and or I'm going to go sit at the security counter or something like that. So learning what to do to keep yourself safe is very important for a young lady to know, um, especially when she does not have her husband yet. And even if she is married, uh, being able to have that knowledge keeps her safe when she is, needing to run an errand or needing to uh, do a task outside, or actually with the kids and doing errands with the kids. It helps keep the kids safe as well. Her actually having awareness of, um, when I learned to drive, one of the things I got taught, and this was something somebody else brought up, is being dropped off far away enough so, you know, they couldn't know where you lived. Um, but also with driving, if somebody is looking suspiciously like they're following you, um, spend some time driving in circles around the block, driving some zigzags with the neighborhood, learning the neighborhood so you could do this until they turn a different direction. And then you're able to not be taking them to your home. Um, this basically deters them. It's actually a technique that some of the, I think it's birds do, is they know their nest has the eggs. They have a predator that is following them, and they will zigzag through things and fly around and circle around and basically wait till the predator has decided, okay, this is too much effort, and then they go away, and then they go to their eggs. Um, or I know some small rodents and mammals do this too. So there is a way to basically detour somebody from coming to your home. That's something I learned about driving. I was driving with this one lady, and she goes, "That car is like turned 3 consecutive times with me. I'm taking this detour." And we detoured around the neighborhood, and finally they turned off a different direction, and then we went back to our house. And she goes, "That's how I protect my children." Yeah, it takes a little extra gas, a little extra effort, but she noticed that that person was following her. So she was like, it may not have been following, maybe just that they were turning into the same neighborhood and didn't and lived nearby, but she wanted to make sure that she wasn't taking them back home. So yeah, there's some nice safety things to actually teach your young ladies, and it can help them actually not be a victim. It can help them not have their children to be victims later, and also awareness. I've actually talked to a handful of girls that have gotten uh, date rape drugs. Date rape drugs. Um, there is one that was an older girl. She knew better. She went to a bar to meet a guy. She was comfortable. She was buying her own drinks for a while. And then he brought back something and she took it and she was like, "Oh, wow, I feel bad." So she took off to the bathroom and she would not come out until he was gone. And then she went to her car, locked the doors, and did not drive home, did not open it for anybody. And she just basically said, "Yeah, that was scary. Something bad could have happened there." Also, while I was in college, there's a couple girls that was like, "Oh yeah, I went to this party. They gave me this drink and I was dizzy and I woke up in some guy's room." Luckily, the one I know of closely, nothing happened. He got nervous, but it happens. So yeah, practice safety with your girls. Teach them what to do if things happen. Um, I'm not going to go into the drinking things. Maybe I'll share that anecdotes with people um, on the side. But yeah, be very, very careful. I actually have a handful of things when actually being out in public with alcohol. I'm very careful with it. So, anyways, I've actually talked quite a bit here. Things to talk about with girls, teach your daughters and everything before they get into the dating and marriage and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, and there is pieces of this I will probably going into part of our Ladies Noble character is also being a good character inside, as well as actually filling in the gaps. Uh, what what we learned, sharing what we learned, gleaning from each other what we learn, and because some people learn more in pieces, some people learn less in pieces. So yeah, it's like I learned some sewing. Some girls haven't learned sewing. Some girls may be able to teach me how to make good sourdough bread. I have never actually tried that. So anyway, again, school.com /CS Joseph for school. Uh, and this is Dumpling. Ugh. This is CEO Dumpling for Dumpling School. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you for my live audience and your participation. I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you.